So a lot of you guys have been requesting for me to make a video on how to make a ton of money in Grand RP, because a lot of you are just starting this game out for the first time and you really don't know how to make a ton of money. When I first started out, I had no idea what I was doing, so hopefully this video will help some of you guys out if you're just starting out in this city, because it can be kind of hard to make money. But eventually you will start to make a ton of money, you'll get a nice house, you'll get some nice ass cars like I have, and then you're gonna have a ton of fun. But obviously you need to know a few things first, so then you know exactly what you want to do so you can make all of that money. So I hope you guys go on to enjoy the video, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and without further ado, let's get into it. One of the first things you could do when you first fly into the city is become an electrician. It's really simple. You pretty much head on over to the electrical plant and repair power grids, and you get paid a pretty decent amount of money. Plus, it benefits you in the future if you choose to become a construction worker, so it's definitely worth it. I got to level 3 as an electrician because it was really easy and I made a bunch of money off of it when I first started in the city. Another job you could do is becoming a farmer, where you pretty much just fill up your watering can and then you go and water some crops and you get paid for that. Now obviously you're not going to make a ton of money from doing this kind of stuff because you're doing it to build experience so you can make more money in other jobs in the future, which we'll get into talking about in just a minute. If you come over here, you can become a collector, where you pretty much drive an armored truck around the city collecting money bags from banks and driving them to other banks. And for each job you actually complete, you'll get around $5,000. And if you get a crew together, it makes it go a little bit quicker, and every person in your crew will get $5,000 per job you complete. It's pretty simple. There is risk of your truck getting robbed because people will try to rob it because, you know, there's a lot of money in the back of it, but you can make a pretty decent amount of money from it, especially if you're just starting the game. You can also become a miner, which a lot of people tend to do. All you need to do is buy a pickaxe from a store, come to any of the quarries around the city, and just start mining. You can get precious things like copper, emeralds, diamonds, rubies, or maybe even a luminous-stone, which you could sell for $1 million. Other things though, like rubies and diamonds, you could sell for like $2 grand, and if you sell a ton of them, it'll end up being a ton of money in your pocket. And if you don't know where these jobs are located, just flex your M muscle and go to My Job, and it'll show a list of all of these jobs. Just click on literally any of them, and then just click route to that job. And once you do that, it'll show a route on your map of exactly where you need to go. So you guys saw I set a route to become a pilot. I talked to this guy and say I want to become a pilot. And then I could transport legal or illegal products. To transport illegal products, you have to be a level 3 pilot. And to do that, you just continuously transport legal products and you'll slowly level up to level 3. And once you do that, you'll be able to make a lot more money, but transporting illegal products will catch the eyes of people like me in the LSPD or other officers in other organizations, so you're at risk of actually going to jail. But you will make a lot more money. And you do make a decent amount of money from being a pilot, it's just the missions do take a fairly decent amount of time. But trust me, when you're in the city, you'll see tons of people doing this because, like I said, once you get to level 3, you'll actually make a ton of money from it. You can also become a construction worker, and you can make a really decent amount of money from this if you guys have help from other people. You need about 5 people to do this, and if you have a strong crew, you'll be able to make a ton of money. And if you're a level 3 farmer, bus driver, or an electrician, it'll allow you to make even more money from doing this kind of stuff. It's really, really simple. You literally go over here, pick up the materials, go to another spot, and drop the materials, and pretty much do a tiny little task. And then after you use all your materials, you'll get paid a decent amount of money. Like I said, if you're a higher level farmer, electrician, or a bus driver, you'll make a lot more money from this. Tons of people tend to do it. As long as you have a strong team, like I said, you'll be able to make a lot of money. If you're ever looking to become a construction worker, just register your company, put in an ad saying that you're looking for some construction help, and people will come, and then you can make a lot of money from it. The last clip, that was showing you becoming a construction worker. Now you could actually buy a construction site. You'll need a decent amount of money to do it, but if you end up completing the entire site, you'll make a huge profit in the end. You could also ask some friends to go in on it with you. So you all put some money together, buy the site, then work on the site together as a unit, and then once the site is completed, you all split the profits. You can see in the bottom left corner, it'll say exactly what the expected profit is, and that can range from like a couple $100,000 all the way up to over $1 million, which is just insane. So you can also do this, but just make sure you have the time to do it, because if you don't, you could end up losing a ton of money. It is worth it because you can make a lot of money. Like I said, making $1 million in a short period of time is pretty hard to do in this city. So if you get a strong unit together and you complete this construction site quickly, you'll be able to make a ton of money. You can also become a firefighter, where you'll get paid like $400 or something per fire you put out, which is pretty decent. So if you team up with a couple other guys and you all become firefighters, you can make a ton of money from doing it. I've done this before, I've done about 30 of them, and I made a bunch of money. It's really simple. You just put out the fires and you get paid. What'll end up making you the most amount of money in Grand RP is going to be businesses. The issue with businesses is there's only a certain amount of them, and they cost a ton of money to purchase, especially since the city is growing every single day. For instance, this chip tuning shop will make a ton of money since people use it all the time. For instance, I just spent $6 million at this place, and every time I buy a car, I spend more and more money here, which means they are making a ton of money. But it'll cost a lot for you guys to actually buy the business, because since you can make so much money from it, the people that own it can sell it for hundreds of millions of dollars. For instance, right here, this 24/7 store won't make you too much money. You might be able to make $100,000 a day from it if you own it, but it'll cost you maybe $30 million to purchase it, depending on the location. Things like a taxi cab business will end up making you probably about $120,000 per day, which is pretty decent, but it'll probably cost you about $20 million to buy it. So it all depends on what the business is and how much it makes every single day. And obviously there's statistics and charts to show you all of that when you're buying the business, but you're going to need a lot of money to do it. So if you want to buy a business, I would highly suggest joining a family, which is exactly what I did. Me and some other guys from my family all pulled some money together, and we all bought a business as one unit. Now we all own stakes in that business, and every couple days we end up getting paid out and we get a bunch of money back into our accounts. I put $8 million into that business and I have a 12% stake, which isn't a lot of stake, and it cost $8 million for that. So obviously if you're playing by yourself, you're gonna have to dish up tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars in order to buy a business, and then you'll be able to make all that money by yourself. But it's really hard to do that. So like I said, it's better to join a family, put some money together, and put however much money you want up on the table, and then you can own maybe a 5% stake, maybe a 20% stake, or maybe even a 50% stake in any of the businesses in the city. Trust me, it's worth it. You can make a ton of money from it. In my opinion though, the best way to make money in this game is going to be joining an organization. That could be the government, the military, the LSPD, it could be gangs, it could be literally anything. There's tons of organizations, and no matter what, if you're in that organization, you will get a salary, which means every single hour that you're in the city, you will be making money. And if you get promoted to higher ranks in those organizations, you'll make even more money. For instance, in the LSPD, the starting salary I believe is right around $3,000 or $5,000, which isn't that bad. But the best part is, in these organizations, you can get bonuses for doing certain things in the city. I know that I'm in the LSPD, and I get tons of bonuses for doing things like arresting criminals, giving out parking tickets, or showing up to events. If we win the event, we get a huge bonus, and if we lose, we don't get a bonus at all, which sucks. The most amount of money I've ever made while being an LSPD officer was over $35,000 in 1 hour, which is great. Plus, like I said, that happens every single hour, so it's guaranteed money in your account no matter what. Some other organizations will pay out a lot more. The reason why I'm an LSPD is because, in my opinion, it's the best organization in the city. We haven't been disbanded, which is very rare because we have such great leadership, and honestly we just work really well together. Other organizations can pay out a ton of money as well. For instance, working at the hospital, you get a bunch of money because you also work partially off of commission. If you sell med kits and pills for players, you can make a ton of money from that because, you know, you get commission, and people will come in and be like, hey, I want to buy 5 med kits, and you sell them out those med kits for $6,000 or something like that, and you get like a 2% commission. And if there's 1,000 people in the city constantly dying and constantly needing stuff from the hospital, you will make a lot of money. I asked some people at the hospital and they said they made right around like $10,000 up to like $40,000 per hour, which is pretty great. You can also make a ton of money from doing criminal activities like joining gangs, robbing cars, and things like that. I don't really know too much about that kind of stuff because I work in law enforcement, but if you want to talk to people about that, you can obviously go over to the ghetto, which is where all of the gangs are located, and ask if you can join their gangs, and then they'll show you the ropes and show you how to make a ton of money there. Like I said, you can make a lot of money, but there's a huge risk because people like me in the LSPD will be out to get you, and we will take you to jail, and you'll be stuck in there for maybe an hour or maybe more, depending on the crime you commit. But if you're really just in it for the money, being a criminal will pay out a lot of money. I wouldn't suggest it because, you know, I'm in law enforcement, but if you're really just in it for the money, go talk to people in gangs and they'll tell you how much money you can really make, because trust me, after you hear how much money you can make, you're going to want to join. You can also click M on your keyboard and you'll be brought to this menu right here. You can see it says achievements and it also says $335,000 there. There's a bunch of different things you could do here where you can make a lot of money. You pretty much do what it says and then you could just take the prizes away. The money will be sent to the post office, where you pretty much just walk into that building, go up to the guy and just pick up all of the packages and you'll just get all of the money, which is awesome. You can make a lot of money from doing this kind of stuff, and it's honestly just an added bonus, because if you're in an organization or you're doing a part-time job or something like that, you're obviously making money from that. These are just added bonuses that'll just help you make a little bit more money in the end game. There's also ways to get some other free money in the server. There's promotions that happen all the time, which can either give you $100,000 or 15 grand coins, which is pretty great. With grand coins, you can actually buy cash with them, and of course, you could also buy grand coins for real life money if you want to go down that road. And honestly, it's not the worst idea because you can get a ton of money from it, and you can also open up these containers where you can win some insane prizes like cars, cash, clothes, and some other cool stuff. Obviously, the more grand coins you spend on the crate, the more money you'll get, and it just means a lot more cool stuff for you. I've won a lot of cars from these crates, like my Bugatti Bolide. I've also won my Koenigsegg and a bunch of other things. So you can make a lot of money from this and win some really cool prizes, but obviously you're gonna have to spend real money to do that. And if you don't want to do that, then obviously do anything else that I mentioned in this video, because you can make a lot of money from that stuff as well. By the way, I'm a police officer. Take a look at the police parking lot here. These are all of the cars, or at least some of the cars, from some of the people that work in the police department. You can see how nice some of these things are, and they cost millions of dollars. So you can see there's money to be made here. So if you ever have any questions about anything in Grand RP, don't hesitate to come to the LSPD and ask me if I'm there, or maybe some other officers. They'll definitely help you out. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully this helped you guys out if you are new to the city and were interested in making some money. If you need any help, like I said, don't hesitate to ask me on Discord or in the city. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. By the way, be sure to check out DigiZani. They'll hook you up with tons of discounted games, gaming accessories, discounted gift cards, and in-game currency for dozens of your favorite games. Don't forget to use code Frolics at checkout for a 10% discount.